Yeah, I would say if you have a root system coming through your business, you got your just desserts.
Your schlenga, if you will.
Welcome to Tairimo Boys Podcast. I'm your host, Cody. With me in second chair is the boy who's tried the whole post apocalyptic biker thing and didn't like it. It's Jeremy.
No, not for me.
You'll find a job one of these days, Jeremy.
One of these days.
With me in third chair is the boy who's lost everything, now has nothing left to lose. It's Ryan.
What's up? You could have just stopped it. He lost everything.
It's not as menacing, Ryan. Today we're taking a second trip on the Fury Road with the prequel movie, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Just as a warning, there are going to be major spoilers for the movie ahead, just like all of our Blockbuster Boys reviews, so you've been warned.
Take it or leave it. You've been warned.
On our last episode of the Tairimo Boys podcast, all three of us agreed that Fury Road was an absolutely amazing movie, a must-see movie. Tairimo Boys certified fun. Jeremy, was your second helping of the Fury Road saga thing worth the ticket price?
100% worth the ticket price. I love this movie. It's not perfect. It does not top Fury Road by any means, but it was still a very, very enjoyable.
Ryan?
It was worth the ticket price for me, and I'm a cheap bastard and tried to use as many magical movie rewards points as I could to get the price off the ticket. But I echo Jeremy's sentiments. It's not a perfect movie, but man, was it better than I anticipated, and I really had a good time.
Better than you anticipated, Ryan. You were with me. You didn't think they were going to screw it up. No, Jeremy was the one who thought they were going to screw it up.
Yeah, I don't know why I said that. Cut that part out.
It's
Okay.
better
I
than
just
I
I'm
anticipated.
Yeah, I'm just stuck in cynical mode for some reason.
The switch is on. The
Yeah,
cynical switch.
yeah, cut that part out.
Okay. As for me, these boys have said it perfectly. Is this movie as good as Fury Road? No. But I don't think anything could top Fury Road. Now, Ryan and Jeremy, they've never seen the original Mad Max trilogy. Furiosa, it feels more like kind of like a mixture between Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome. Fury Road was its own like little thing of just one giant chase with like tiny little breaks in it. While Furiosa, it's more grounded in the sense that there's long periods without chases, and then there's a few small chases in there to break up the story.
You get enough action to keep you just on the edge of your seat. Like my jaw wasn't dropping like on Fury Road, but it was still intense enough and well paced alongside the world building. It worked really, really well.
Jeremy, you just said the magic word, world building. That's what
Boy, there
I,
was a lot of it.
yeah, that's what I felt this movie essentially was. Because for the two people who don't know, Furiosa, it's a prequel to Fury Road where we go over, of course, Furiosa's backstory and how she got to like the high position she did get to. Of course, we're not just gonna have like one giant chase like we did in Fury Road. What we do is we go into like Immortum Joe's, a little bit of his backstory, what he was doing at the time Furiosa came in, and we especially get a bunch of development from his, I guess, lieutenants would be the correct term. Of course, the whole idea of the movie is that Furiosa, she gets kidnapped as a child and has to survive as she grows up in the Citadel and the lands around it. And we learn a little bit about a biker warlord played by Chris Hemsworth, who's constantly having run-ins with Furiosa, and eventually she goes on a revenge spree to kill him. So, Jeremy, what did you think of Dementus?
Absolutely love Dementus. Love the crazy, just what's the word I'm looking for? Bad out of hell. That'd be appropriate. Like he's willing to do anything to get what he wants.
Ryan?
He's a perfect fit for this franchise. I enjoyed him as much as I did Furiosa, but obviously for different reasons. Was the red cape intentional?
I think it was.
Well, I mean, you're.
I felt it was.
Hey everybody, this guy played Thor. Remember Thor?
Actually, I don't really think it was meant to be a symbolism type thing, but I think it kind of symbolized like his descent into what happened. Where okay, let me start off by saying this. I've got a love-hate relationship with the character. Was he a good villain? Yeah. But here's the thing: when you start like really analyzing the plot, the guy was a fucking dumbass. He'd constantly make blunders where it would just completely screw him over.
I think that was the fun of the character too. Is he's just goofy as hell.
And you are gonna get like goofy characters in the Mad Max series. I mean, if you kind of think about it, like Master Blaster was kind of a goofy character. You guys have like no idea what the hell I'm talking about.
Nope,
But
but that is an interesting name.
In the first one,
no,
I almost went back after I watched Furiosa. Almost went home and watched at least the first Mad Max. The original ones are all on the aptly named HBO Max.
they should have done some promotion like HBO Mad Max.
What a missed opportunity.
I think we'll probably review those eventually down the line. We're not doing them all at once, I can tell you that.
No, sir.
Ghostbusters kind of wore me out. But
Got to sprinkle it in.
yeah, the whole idea behind Master Blaster, this is where on the topic is you've got the brains and the muscle. Master's like a midget, and I'm not gonna say too much about Blaster, but he's the muscle, and they kind of walk around as a unit. Now, here's something I want to discuss. Jeremy, do you remember last time when I said that Mad Max inspired the Fallout franchise?
Yes, and I also think it inspired Borderlands
We need
for
to do
obvious
some,
reasons.
yeah, we need to do some research on that. I think Fallout might have influenced this movie.
I could see it.
Well, there's something very particular. You know how Dementus rode around in a chariot made out of vehicles?
Yes.
So here's your little fun fact if you're unaware. Originally, Fallout 3 was in production. It was called Van Buren. It was supposed to be top down, turn based grid combat, just like Fallout 1 and 2, and it was supposed to be New Vegas. In the game, Caesar's Legion would ride around in chariots made out of automobiles like that. And I think that's kind of. They might have taken inspiration for this movie.
Makes sense to me.
So, Jeremy, give me some of your general thoughts on the movie.
Great over the top action. The action sequences were just absolutely stunning. As Ryan mentioned with Fury Road, the cinematography was on point. It was also on point in this movie. Although they did use CGI a little bit more,
Yep.
it still didn't overstay its welcome. And the cast was killer.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Before the movie, well, before I saw the movie, I noticed like a lot of the reviews were saying there's too much CGI in it, which kind of had me worried. But when you watch the movie, it's not like you can go build the Citadel or Gastown or Bullet Farm out in the
Right.
open and do some of that stuff. I mean, there's practical effects, and then there's stuff you just can't do with practical effects.
What they did made sense in why they used the CGI. It just wouldn't work otherwise.
Yeah, I could only really think of one bad scene with CGI, and it was when Dementus was trying to ram the gate up the Bullet Farm. Ryan, you got anything to add?
No, I think Jeremy hit on all the key points. I would like to add, though, that I can't wait to build my own motorcycle chariot,
Go for it.
You'll be awaited in Valhalla.
ride around to work.
That'd be so fun. As kids, we used to do that with our four wheelers. Like we had these little garden trailers. They were like 4x4 with a set of wheels on them that we'd pull behind the ATVs. One of us would drive the ATV, and the other one would sit in the back like a chariot, and we would ride around like that, try to throw each other from the trailer.
That's so.
Did you talk in a very thick Australian accent?
It's part of it.
You know, whenever I was watching this whole movie, I kept thinking the whole time, it's like Jeremy talked during our last review all about how much he loved the world building, and just watch. It's like Jeremy's gonna love this. Jeremy's gonna love this. Jeremy's gonna love this.
Oh, I did. I did for many reasons, and some reasons that surprised me. I remember in our last review, I mentioned that some of the things I was afraid of, and I was afraid Furiosa was just going to be this dominating girl boss. Boy, was I completely wrong about that. She gets her ass kicked like the entire freaking movie. What she lacks for in physical strength, she makes up for in other strengths. Like, it was so refreshing to see a female character done that can be a badass, but just not be a girl boss.
And the important thing is we know where Furiosa's story ends. So I mean, we could give some leeway to it, but you're exactly right. She wasn't invincible. She gets pretty beaten up throughout the movie, and everything felt earned. Now, Jeremy, if you had any questions about Furiosa, did this movie answer them all?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't have a ton of questions to begin with. I was just more interested in knowing the backstory. If I had one criticism, I would say they spent a little too much time with young Furiosa on the big screen. That would be probably my only criticism.
Same.
I'll agree with you. I was kind of thinking it over, but I don't know what they can remove. They spent too long with her, but they kind of needed it all for backstory. Wait till we get to my main criticism.
Ooh, juicy.
I'll agree with you, Jeremy. Like this answered like all the questions that I had with Furiosa. If you remember last time I asked, like, why didn't Furiosa end up in the struggle snuggle vault? Well, turns out she did end up in the struggle snuggle vault, but she escaped.
Old Rictus was very erectus this time around.
Everyone's taken that scene as sexual. I don't. Like, I think
You know what he wanted.
he wanted those bells. Like everyone's taking it as like a sexual thing, but I think if his room was like covered in like baby dolls, like I think he just wanted to play with the bells she had in her hair. Now, did you boys notice a character who was there but not in Fury Road?
Was there, but not in Fury Road.
Yes.
Scrotus?
Yep.
Who the fuck was Scrotus? I was scratching my head. I was like, who is this guy?
Whenever I saw him, I was like, wow, they actually had the courtesy of putting him in the movie. So here's the thing about Scrotus. Do you remember last time when I said in the Mad Max video game, one of Immortum Joe's sons got a chainsaw through the head?
Yeah,
That was Scrotus.
poor Scrotus.
George Miller recently said the Mad Max video game, he didn't like it, but at the same time, Scrotus being in this movie kind of implies that it's canon.
And until it's not.
But there you go. Jeremy, you know I gotta ask the general question. What
Which
was
one?
your favorite scene?
Ooh, that's tough. There's a lot of very, very good scenes in this movie, but I think I'll go with the first rig chase when they were attacked by those. I guess they were rebels or whatever. They were using those little propellers and those tights, and they were just bombing the shit out of the rigs. That was such a fun scene.
Yeah, that felt like Fury Road, and that's gonna be my answer too.
Yeah,
And
that's why I went with it.
I don't know if you caught it, but the rebels, they were led by that guy with the dark hooded helmet.
Yes, yes, I did actually.
Yeah, it was kind of implying that he had gotten fed up with Dementus, since early in the movie we see him sacrifice a bunch of the guy's men.
You do kind of see I guess, the fall of power that Dementus gets after a while.
This goes into the whole thing where I just didn't like him. I was like, I think he kept making problems for himself by constantly going for more and more power. Like he couldn't handle everyone in Gastown. He was sacrificing his own men, so his men were turning against him. He just got in way and over his head.
Agreed.
Ryan, your favorite scene?
Also, the first rig chase.
So we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Had a gut feeling with that scene.
I mean, it's literally what we wanted in Fury Road. Got a huge gun battle and people flying all over the place and spinning maces and literally Mad Max into its purest form.
Or what every one of my family reunions is like.
You know what, Cody? I'm gonna save it till after I hear your biggest criticism, but I have one that's even bigger.
I've got a
This
whole
one is
bunch.
this one is a big criticism, the biggest one I could think of.
All right, so Ryan, do you want to give any criticism before me and Jeremy dump on the movie?
I don't know if it's a criticism of the movie or me because I love movies, but I don't know what's happened to me lately. There was a point in this movie where I was like checking my watch and I was like, how long is this movie?
I was too, and I'm gonna talk
Same.
about that a little bit. I mean, I wasn't getting bored, but it felt like it was going on.
Lingered a smidge too long, almost.
Jeremy, you start unloading.
How the hell are you gonna call this Mad Max Saga without my boy Max?
Max was in it.
Well, briefly doesn't a cameo doesn't count.
And I hate that he was in this movie.
Either have him in the movie completely or don't at all. Don't give me a goddamn cameo.
Jeremy, it's a movie about Furiosa in the Mad Max world. It's not about Max.
I know, but then why call it a Mad Max Saga?
Because it's a saga in the Mad Max universe.
God damn it.
I honestly, I wish they wouldn't have even put him in the movie at all. Because it makes no sense. Like, he would have known this whole area is locked down. Without open trade, there'd be no reason for him to be in the area for Fury Road.
Through that, that's how we fix it. We take Mad Max's cameo out.
Anything else, Jeremy?
Not at the moment. More will come to mind, though.
So Jeremy already addressed one of mine. I've got two things to add. First off, Furiosa losing her arm. Let me explain it first. So as a child, after she gets taken by the biker gang, she ends up tattooing a star map on her arm. That really leads to absolutely nothing. Because you kind of get the feeling like, oh, she probably lost her arm because someone chopped it off and was trying to use the star map to get back to the green place.
That's what I thought the whole time.
Yeah, and then she ends up getting captured and cuts off her arm, and it leads to absolutely nothing. Honestly, Dementus, the final fight should have had like Dementus chopping her arm off, and well, it wouldn't be final fight. At some point at around that the time she lost it, chopping it off and using it as a map, and then she has to stop him or something. Now this goes into what Jeremy said. I think this movie should have been two parts.
I said that?
No, you said that the movie drug on too long.
Oh, yes. Yeah, like you said, Cody, I wasn't getting bored with it, but I'm on the same page as you guys. I was looking at the time. I was like, all right, this is almost too long.
Yeah. So here's what they should have done. If they would have cut the movie at 30 minutes earlier, like right after Furiosa got back to the Citadel, and then told Mortem Joe and all his lieutenants that Dementus was going to fight, was getting ready to attack the Citadel, I think the movie should have ended there.
Cliffhanger.
Yep. And then the next part is Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, the 40-day war. Then we get another 90 minutes of the 40-day war, which in this movie, 40 days is equal to a 10-second slideshow.
A lot of cuts there.
I mean, it was completely ridiculous. Like they're building up to this epic battle, and then the battle's completely done in like a slideshow.
Which was sad because it would have been so epic to see.
Yeah, that's why this needed to be two parts, and then the second part is us just watching the war between Mortem Joe and Dementus.
100% agree.
And then the last 30 minutes of the movie they could have ended it the same way they did.
Yeah, how'd you guys feel about the ending?
I've got kind of mixed feelings on it. I like the idea that they were kind of going for a storyteller type ending thing.
Yeah, you definitely get that feeling for sure.
Where it's like, oh, she executed him right away. Like, no, wait, or maybe she drug him along and killed her just like her predecessor. What happened to her predecessor? And then we find out that she just planted a seed on his crotch and grew a tree.
I know. Like I was like, it all happened like quick. It was back to back too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, he's actually still alive. He's got a tree growing out of his wiener.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about Ryan during that because I know, Ryan, you love when villains get their just desserts.
Yeah.
Could you say he got his just desserts?
Uh, yes. Yes, I would. Although I thought that was part of like the ambiguous ending, like, oh, did this actually happen?
Maybe, I don't know.
I think they solidified that one.
I think it was more solidified. Like
But
I think it was more like it's like, oh, here's some like endings, but here's your really crazy one. Do you believe this one? And then it kind of applied like, yeah, that's kind of what happened.
yeah. Yeah, I would say if you have a root system coming through your business, you got your just desserts.
Your schlinga, if you will.
But yeah, it was we're being nitpicky again, but even so, really enjoyable movie.
Absolutely.
All right, Jeremy, it's time for some boys in action.
Ooh, let's do it.
If you were in this movie, where would you die?
Well, I know I'm not awaited. I haven't got that far. I would have drawn my map wrong on my arm. I would have gotten lost in the desert trying to find the green place again, and I would have died.
Fair enough. Ryan?
I would have died during the part where she's under the rig. Had very was very reminiscent of Raiders of the Lost Ark when he's under the truck for that brief moment. But I would have been sucked under the tire. As much as I in my career have wanted to truck chase, where I am for a brief moment underneath the truck, I would get sucked in the tire.
You are weighted.
Just roadkill at that point. I think I probably would have died at the early in the movie. I think whenever those bikers are chopping up that horse, I think they would have found me and chopped me into meat too. Blood sausage, as they called it.
Blood sausages, delicious. Always love a good boys in action.
Yeah, because it's your segment.
What'd you guys think of Gandalf the Tan? Or Apocalypse Gandalf? Or Edgelord Gandalf? There we go, I'm going with that one.
The wise man.
Yeah, the history man.
I love the idea of him because
Same.
I think this is supposed to be like 45 years after the nuclear apocalypse, and you've got an old man who was around before the times, and he's doing a living encyclopedia type thing with history tattooed on him. I kind of got thinking, it's like we see he survives at the end of the movie, but he was captured, so who knows what happened to him. I think Immortum Joe probably would have spared him, but we don't see him in Fury Road. But I was thinking, is like, if you remember in the Struggle Snuggle Vault, there was like that old lady, and she had tattoos exactly like that all over her body. So I think she might have like filled the same role, but for Immortum Joe.
Makes sense to me.
So
Does he ask for donations like Wikipedia?
people at home, do not donate to Wikipedia, by the way. All their executives get paid like millions and millions of dollars salary.
Must be nice.
They get government grants for that stuff. Your money's going to them even if you don't donate. All right, Jeremy, pass topic on to you.
More so on the topic of world building, and Cody, you touched on it earlier, but I did absolutely love getting to see Gastown and the Bullet Farm. Like just different locations. In Fury Road we got that one big chase. You do see the Citadel. This time around you get to see so much more. I loved it.
Yep, I loved it too. You got to see that. Well, we kind of briefly saw the outside of Gastown, where it's a huge refinery surrounded by like an oil field, and but we didn't see the bullet farm, which we did in this one, which is just like a giant quarry mine, and they've got like huge chimney stacks where they're smelting down the ore and turning them into bullets. And just the whole outside of the quarry is just surrounded by those tank barriers. It looked absolutely amazing.
A work of art, if you will. Also, what you guys think of Jack, Praetorian Jack?
That was going to be my question.
This is a juicy one.
I was a big fan of Praetorian Jack. Did anybody else look at him and think, man, if he just slimmed down a little bit, he could play Solid Snake?
I kind of got that vibe from him.
God damn it, what an idea. Can we please get a live action Metal Gear Solid series?
Funny enough, George Miller wants Kojima to make a Mad Max video game.
That would be awesome. Holy shit, that would be good.
Yeah, I loved him as a character. Like we all knew there had to be a predecessor to Furiosa, and he was just a badass like we expected him to be.
Exactly. Great character. And that's all I got.
Ryan, pass the topic on to you.
Too late.
Okay, nothing else. Okay.
Nope.
All right, Jeremy. Final thoughts.
Fantastic movie. Worth the ticket price and then some. You will not be disappointed with this movie.
Ryan, final thoughts.
Yeah, it's a killer movie. I'd recommend seeing it in a theater.
Like I said before, I agree with both these boys. The movie was excellent. It wasn't as good as Fury Road, but there's no living up to that. If you want more Mad Max, this will definitely fill that emptiness inside you. And with all the world building, this feels more like kind of like the Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome, in a good way. Although we don't do the whole children thing like we do in Thunderdome, so be thankful for that. All right, Jeremy, time to scale this.
Do it.
If you remember, our scale last time was from the Fallout TV series to Waterworld. Where would you rank this movie?
Oh, God. We gotta stop using Fallout, the TV series, as this. Again, I don't like. Okay, this is gonna go underneath the Fallout TV series, just underneath Fury Road.
Ryan?
Underneath Fury Road, and I haven't seen Fallout. I'll get to it in a couple of years.
Eventually. I could have been an asshole and did a whole Mad Max scale, but I prefer this one more. But I still, like Ryan, I haven't seen the Fallout TV series. I know I'd enjoy it if I watched it. I just need to find the time to do it. So I'm plus
I
in
have
the
faith in you
same
guys.
spot as Ryan. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to another episode of Tairimo Boys podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us how much you love the Mad Max series. Don't forget to ring that motherfucking bell. Stay tuned for more episodes.